On this episode, we welcome Kelly England of the brand new Nurses with Cards Facebook group. Atlas All Access starts now. All right, Kelly England, welcome to Atlas.
I appreciate you having me on, Rich.
So tell me, you've been a nurse for what, 14 years now? Is that right?
This year marks 14 years, yes.
Give me some background on like where you've been, what you've done, that type of thing.
Oh gosh, I've kind of been like that jack of all trades. So I started off as, I actually was a nurse aide for 2 years, and then once I graduated, I started on a telemetry floor in Good Samaritan Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio. And from there, I morphed into ICU roles, moved into travel nursing. So I was a travel nurse for many years. And then I went to back to ICU at Good Sam and was in the float pool there. So I was a float pool nurse for probably about 8 years, where I floated to all areas of ICU, neuro ICU, CV ICU, med-surg ICU. So kind of like I said, jack of all trades. And then from there went on to flight nursing, went to flight school, flight academy as it's called, and graduated that and became a flight nurse, which I only did for about a year. It wasn't all that it was cracked up to be in my mind. However, it's an amazing experience. And then I went back to floor nursing and then went to the director. I went to a director role in a long-term care and acute rehab setting. And I had a baby, and he's now 5. And so when he was he was 2.5, I believe, and I decided to go back to bedside nursing to have more time with him. So I have been back at the bedside since June of 2016. And I currently am a regional ICU float pool nurse for a health system in Cincinnati and also at the Christ Hospital in Cincinnati as ICU float.
And during all of this time, 14 years, exactly how many games of cards have you gotten in?
Oh, gosh. Probably, 0.
I kind of figured that would be your answer. So give me the motivation behind starting this group, because, I mean, if you're anything like me, you're on Facebook all the time anyway. You saw when she said this nonsense. Give me the motivation behind starting this group.
Well, it actually started, I went to Gatlinburg last weekend on a family vacation, and when I got down there, I was kind of, I unpacked, was unwinding, sitting at the table in the cabin, looking over the woods, and I was reading through Facebook, just unwinding, and I kept seeing all of the posts about Senator Maureen Walsh's comments. And my sister is also in the hospital setting, not as a nurse, but she's been in the hospital setting for about 11 years. And so I was explaining to her what was going on, and because she hadn't been a part of it yet. And after I explained how ridiculous the comments were and how it was infuriating so many people, I realized, I'm surprised there hasn't been a group yet started. And then it hit me, and I thought, well, I'll start one. So right then and there, I went ahead and created the group on Facebook. And within, I think it wasn't even 24 hours. I think I had 150,000 people. It was either 125 or 150,000 people within 24 hours.
And so that leads into my next question. I checked this morning. You're pushing $250,000. It's almost 250,000 so far. Are you surprised? Are you surprised by the growth?
Actually, I am. It's been a little overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. Simply because up until yesterday, 2 nights ago, I added another admin, and I added 2 more moderators. But up until then, I had moderated the entire group, which consisted of about, I would say, 600 inbox messages, and having to approve a lot of the members, which that was a game in itself. And so it was a lot of growth really fast, and it was a little overwhelming. And it's still overwhelming. I'm still trying to iron out a lot of the kinks, and I get a lot of angry emails. I get a lot of really supportive love emails. So it's been a mix of of the game here.
Are you happy with where the directions it's gone?
I am. I mean, with anything, when you have a lot of controversy, there are some things that I've looked back and thought, gosh, I wish I would have done this a little different. However, it's a learning curve for me, and I've been explaining that to people. And the majority of people, especially when they send me a nasty inbox, once I speak to them, they completely come back around and say, wow, I had no idea. I'm sorry. I'm really supportive of you. You're doing a great job. So, I mean, it's a roller coaster, and I'm in for the ride. And I've had a lot of people reach out with exciting ideas. I mean, I've had one nurse attorney from Georgia that wants to do seminars and conferences. So she wants Nurses with Cards to be the primary, organization that she sets these up through. So I think that there's a lot of growth potential and just an amazing forum that we can build with this.
There's power in numbers, and I said that as I kind of touched on this the first time when I kind of spoke to it, that there's 3 million registered nurses right in the country. There's some power there, and I think you're just scratching the surface with this group and what you can do and the positive that you can bring to not only the travel nursing industry, what we deal in every day, but then just nursing in general.
Absolutely, and after I realized the enormous impact that this could potentially have, and just after the days have gone by and the thinking of things that I can do, just like the first T-shirt that was developed from our group, we decided to donate the proceeds to the National Student Nurses Association, just to help the upcoming nurses of the world. And granted, it's going to be a slow start. But everything we do, we're going to try and donate it back to a nursing cause. So the first one, obviously, is the Student Nurse Association. However, we're looking at more, and we're trying to decide. Like, I wanted to start my own charitable organization, and I still might. That's something that's in the works, but it's going to take some paperwork and some time, just like everything does. Just like the trademark. I've had to trademark the name. I've had to buy the domain names of nurseswithcards.com and .net and .org, and apply for copyright. So it's been an undertaking, and it's quite surprising what has been accomplished in just 1 week. Today marks actually at 6:30 p.m. today, it marks 1 week. So when I look back and think what has been accomplished in 7 days, it's pretty exciting. I think, gosh, if I can do that in 7 days, what can I do in a month? What can I do in 6 months?
What are your long-term goals? Like, if you think out 2 years, 4 years, 8 years ahead, like, where do you want to see this grow to?
Well, like I said, I would love to make this into a forum where nurses go to feel comfortable talking about almost anything, and I've had a lot of people sending me messages about, I need to update the rules, I need to make this rule, I need to make that rule. And, the group that I was a part of that grew from a bad comment as well, which is Show Me Your Stethoscope. They're a fantastic group that I've been a part of since right after they started, and they started out of the same thing. It was like a joke. So they grew out of that, and now 4 years later, almost, so it's about 3.5 years actually. September, I think they started September 2015. So 4 years later, and they've got 630,000 members, and I want to beat that. Like, I'm a competitive person in nature, and even though it's a competitive on a good natured side, I want to beat that. I want to be the group that hits 1 million people. And with that power, like I said, start doing, conferences for nurses, conferences for education CEUs, and then build it to where I can make a charitable organization to where my group is actually really going to make an impact. It started off as funny memes and people having a good time, but it can morph into something amazing, and that's where I'm looking to go.
You've got fans here. I love what you've done so far. It's been fantastic. I've had a lot of fun following along as it's grown so far, and you've worked through some of the kinks that I think you inevitably come to whenever you have a new group on like that on Facebook. So I wish you a lot of luck. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Well, I appreciate the vote of confidence because I sure need it. So I appreciate you.
Okay, last question then, all about you. If someone is watching, if a nurse is watching this for the first time, or tech or therapist or whoever in the healthcare field, where can they find you? Where can they find the group? That type of information.
Well, if they go to Facebook, obviously they just can put in the search bar Nurses with Cards. I'm the only one that's going to pop up. And then also, like I said, I'm building the website of nurseswithcards.com, nurseswithcards.net, and nurseswithcards.org. So the .org will probably be the charitable side once I get that up and rolling, and the .com for now will be where they can go to get more information just from a web browsing side. But from Facebook, just Nurses with Cards. I mean, you're going to see my face in there, and my new logo that I just rolled out yesterday. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, again, Kelly, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to talk with us. I can't wait to see where this goes in the future.
Awesome. I hope that we can talk again once I get some more growth, Rich.
I'm sure we will.
All right. Have a good day, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.